Welcome to another Apollo Papyrus podcast episode. I am Aaron Apollo Camp. For this episode, my interview guest is a copywriter, and he is also the author of the book Thoughts of a Kingdom Citizen, Earth Needs Heaven. His name is Yoel ben Yisrael, and my interview with Yoel will follow the note-taking sounds. Yoel ben Yisrael, welcome to the Apollo Papyrus podcast.
Thank you, man. Thank you so very much, Aaron, for having me on. This is a blessing of an opportunity, so I thank you, sir.
You left a job in corporate America around the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. Prior to COVID, what jobs did you hold in corporate America?
Yeah, so prior to the COVID happening, the jobs that I had was I used to work at Staples for a time. I worked there. But then previously before that, I used to do different odd jobs. I used to be a car salesman for a short period of time. And then I worked at Home Depot for a short stint. And then I worked at what I call my dream job, actually. I worked at the Riviera Cinema as being an usher in a movie theater. So that was like out of all jobs, that was my favorite job to have for sure. So those were like the different jobs that I worked in before I completely left corporate America.
Is it true that you provide copywriting services? And if so, how can anyone who is interested in your copywriting services obtain them?
Yes. So at one point in time, I was doing copywriting services, but I recently pivoted to doing more so transcription work. And if anybody would like to, if they would want to get in contact with me regarding having their audio visual content transcribed, you can always contact me. You can reach out to me on the best would be through email. That's Yoel ben Yisrael at gmail.com. Yoel ben Yisrael at gmail.com. Or you can find me on Facebook too, as Yoel ben Yisrael. That's YoelBenYisrael. And I'll be more than happy to collaborate with you and to promote your platform through transcription work for sure.
You've written a book titled Thoughts of a Kingdom Citizen, Earth Needs Heaven. Without spoiling too much about your book, what is it about?
Yes, so no spoilers. To give a synopsis of this book, it is essentially a hybridization of my journey navigating through three various religious circles, and then eventually coming to enter into the kingdom of heaven and to live as a law-abiding citizen of this government called the Kingdom of Heaven. It's my very first book, and I'm very excited for people to really dive into it and to check it out, because I think that it'll be a blessing for those who read this book as well.
I don't know what the exact word or page length of your book is, but from what I understand, it's not very long. And why is that?
Yeah, so the first book is not very long, because I did that with intentionality. I wanted people to read the book, to consume it, to metabolize it, but simultaneously I wanted people to hunger for more and to thirst for more content from me. So I feel like this is a great sampler. It is a great introduction to who I am and who I am as an author. And then when people get done reading it, I wanted the overall feeling to be, man, like that was a great read, but I feel like I still want more. And so more is on the way. To let you all know, I'm definitely in the works of writing more books to elaborate on the kingdom of heaven and the principles of heaven, and overall the Bible, the Hebrew Bible, alongside with that as well.
There is an audio book version of your book available in addition to an ebook version. Were you the narrator of your own audio book? And if not, who narrated it?
I was, man. Yes. I was the narrator of of the book, the audio book iteration of it. And when I tell you, man, like that was a lot of fun to do. That was a lot of fun to do. I was flirting with the idea of maybe having somebody else do it because it was my first time doing that, and there was a learning curve that I had to navigate through. But that learning curve, I feel like was flattened relatively quickly and seamlessly. And yeah, I just had a blast doing that, man. To be able to put my, it's one thing to write words and to type words on a QWERTY keyboard and to read the static words on a page, but it's another thing I think for the author, and it brought me a lot of joy to give life to the words and to get put emotion into the words through my narration and to really put my heart into it. So yeah, so when you listen to it on Audible, that is me. That's me for sure, and I had a blast doing that for sure. I actually look forward to doing more audio work with some of my books that are coming out in the future also.
What motivated you to write Thoughts of a Kingdom Citizen?
Man, excellent question, Aaron. So essentially, I, what motivated me honestly was God, really. Yahweh. I feel like the King of Heaven was really impressing upon me that I had been procrastinating. First and foremost, I love writing. And I feel like I'm a wordsmith, and I love to read. I'm an avid reader, but I feel like fear was holding me back from coming out with this book, and I feel like the King of Heaven was just impressing on my heart, mind, and soul to really get this book out, to stop procrastinating, because if once I'm able to get this book out, and he was galvanizing me to do so, then it's definitely going to be a blessing to others, and it's going to liberate other people from just different misinformation and disinformation we've been taught throughout our lifetimes. And so that was really the motivation was with the King of Heaven. I feel like he really motivated me to just push that fear aside, that trepidation aside, and to put my fingers to the QWERTY keyboard and begin to write. And I'm so glad that he galvanized me to finally stop procrastinating and to get this book out to the world.
What are the easiest and hardest aspects of writing a book for you?
Man, great question. Let me start with the hardest aspect first. The hardest aspect I feel like of writing a book is the editorial, the editorial process, the editorial stage of it. Because if anybody knows me, I am a consummate perfectionist, and I do my best to make sure that what I do, I try my best to do it with excellence and to be as close to perfect as I can be. But then when it comes to writing, what I find that sometimes, it may slow me down because I'll write something, I'll write a paragraph and I'll read it and I'll say, man, that doesn't sound right. That sentence can be redacted, or I can use some better language to describe this part, or I can take this word out. And so to me, that's the hardest part, because I feel like I'm my biggest critic, and I'm always trying to make the perfect piece of literature before I throw it out there to the masses. But I feel like the easiest part for writing for me is drafting up the rough draft manuscripts, because I feel like when I'm doing it, I give myself the liberty to just kind of freestyle, if you will, to kind of just give my thoughts out there on the paper. And then when it's time for me to go back and make some edits and to redact things, then that's when I'll go back and chisel away at the statue, so to speak.
Is your book independently, traditionally, or hybrid published?
Yes, so this book, it is independently published by myself. I was looking to see how different people publish their books, and I saw people going the traditional route, and I saw people going the more hybridized route, and I just thought to myself, man, what looks more beneficial to me is to publish it independently, to reserve all the rights, and then to be able to have to pocket most of the profit, so I can be able to invest that to advance the kingdom of heaven government, and also to use those monies to write out more books as well for the potential readership to check those out also.
You mentioned earlier that you have more books in the works. What are some ideas you have in mind for books that you have in the works?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I have I have a couple of ideations swirling around within the theater of my mind. So the first set of books is actually going to be a 22 volume set. I'm pivoting this time to write out some children's books. And so the name of these books, they're going to be called the Aleph Bet Collection. And for those who may not know, the Aleph Bet is the Hebrew alphabet. And so with me being a man of Hebrew descent and just loving the Hebrew language and being a Hebrew enthusiast, I want to introduce the next generation. I'm a millennial, so I want to introduce like Gen Z and Generation Alpha to the Hebrew language. Because one, I think it's the most beautiful language that's ever existed, and then two, I feel like if people were to be able to learn the Hebrew language, and if they're interested, if they wanted to read the Hebrew Bible, it's going to leap off the page like you're watching a 4K resolution video. So it's called the Aleph Bet Collection. That's coming out very, very soon. I already finished like one volume set regarding those 22 books. And then also the other book that I'm wanting to come out, and I'm working on the rough draft manuscript, it's a book about marriage. I've been married to my lovely wife for almost 4 years now. And I feel like there's a lot of wisdom that I've gleaned, not just experientially, but also from the Bible. And I want to entitle this book, Marriage is Like the Garden of Eden. And so those are the two major projects, literary projects that I have that are cooking up. And I'm super excited to get those out to the people for sure.
You wrote a Substack newsletter titled Leb Tahor, whose name is Hebrew for clean heart. What motivated you to write a Substack newsletter? And although you haven't written any new articles for it in a few years, what types of articles or other writings can be found on Leb Tahor?
Yes, sir. Man, Leb Tahor is my playground. Leb Tahor is my literary playground because during COVID and probably a little bit before the year of 2020, I've really got this impression to really lean into writing. And that's when I began to really fall in love with the art of writing. We're just putting words together and writing different books. And so Leb Tahor, which you write is Hebrew for clean heart, it is me just going into that playground, man, and just writing, just like writing like there's no tomorrow. I did my best to dabble into like different genres and styles of writing. So on that website, you'll find that I did like written interviews with different people. I also wrote like satirical pieces that I had never done that before, but I really started to really like writing those type of satirical short stories as well about what's going on within the world. And things of that nature. There's also some poetry that's on that website as well too. And then also, man, I get really vulnerable and really transparent on that Leb Tahor blog as well, just talking about my personal struggles when it comes to faith and spirituality, and me doing my best to be a kingdom citizen as well. So it is an amalgamation of me just trying out different things, experimentally writing, and just trying to sharpen myself as a writer as well.
You've also written numerous articles on Medium. What can readers expect to find in your Medium articles? Is it similar to what you wrote for Leb Tahor on Substack?
Yes. So yes and no, actually. So Medium was something else that I came across when I left corporate America in 2020, and Medium is so cool because they have On there, I was able to write for different digital magazines. So there's a magazine that's called Koinonia. That is a faith-based magazine about the Bible that I was able to be a contributor for, and that was really really cool, man, because it allowed me to really showcase. I feel like my writing aptitude in a different way, and to be able to list resources, to be able to be more scholarly, if I can say it that way, regarding digital publications. And then also, man, like they also like have a lot of opportunities for writers to grow and to mature as well. I feel like Medium too is a huge writing playground. They have I was able to write like satirical songs on Medium. They have like different people you can write for, different digital magazines you can write for, groups. And I was I wrote a song, a satirical song. The original song is called "Baby It's Cold Outside," but I wrote a satirical twist on there, calling it "Baby It's COVID Outside." And just playing around with that song and having a blast with that too. And I also writing like writing about my journey as well, of me navigating through COVID, and scriptural musing as well. You can find that on Medium also. So I had a blast writing on Medium also. I think if any writer is listening, that's an excellent platform for you to tap into if you want to grow and mature as a writer as well.
One final question. You host a podcast. What is it called, and what can listeners expect from a typical episode of your podcast?
Yes, sir, man. Yes, I do. The podcast is entitled "The Kingdom Besorah," and Besorah is Hebrew for news, or more colloquially speaking, the good news. And when you tap into this podcast, man, you can expect me doing my very best to unpack, to unbox, to unearth, and demystify the good news about the kingdom of heaven and its arrival. It being the perfect governmental structure that I feel like humanity really needs. And also on this podcast, I also take care to talk about life in general, man. What's going on in America? What's going on pop culturally speaking? I recently talked about the Super Bowl halftime show with Kendrick Lamar, and just juxtaposing that with the scriptures and looking at that through a biblical lens. And you can also expect me to kind of switch it up. I do like audio theater on that podcast as well. And so I'm writing scripts out regarding that audio theater, and you could just hear me like tell stories. The last episode I did, most recent one, is I told a story about a time where I went to Toronto, Canada, and the lessons that I learned from that trip as well, with me and my two buddies. It was more so a spiritual trip that we did as well. So you can almost expect the unexpected, but it's definitely going to be grounded within the Bible and within the Hebrew scriptures as well when you tap into that podcast.
Yoel, thank you for appearing on the Apollo Papyrus podcast. You were an amazing guest.
Thank you so very much, man. And you are an amazing host, Aaron. I totally appreciate you, and I appreciate this podcast and for you platforming different writers and authors, man. Thank you so very much. I truly appreciate this opportunity.
Yoel was a wonderful guest to interview, and I'll include relevant links in the text description of the episode. This is Aaron Apollo Camp reminding y'all to find your writing and reading purpose. Bye for now. Copyright 2025, Aaron Apollo Camp, all rights reserved. This podcast episode is intended for the private listening of our audience. Any reuse or retransmission of this podcast episode without the express written consent of the podcast host is prohibited except under fair use guidelines. Royalty-free music and sound effects obtained from https://www.zapsplat.com.